For this experiment, you're going to need your textbook, 3 onions, any size. You're going to need a sharp cutting knife, a cutting board, a sink, and a freezer. For the first step in this experiment, you need to put one of the onions in the freezer, and it needs to stay there for at least 15 minutes. So we'll put it in the freezer. So, the second step is if you are wearing contact lenses, you need to remove them. Contact lenses reduce experiment's effect. If you don't have contact lenses, stop being gross. Okay, so the first thing to remember is be careful and to cut the onions, not yourself.
Yeah.
So put a second onion on the cutting board and begin cutting it into tiny pieces. Perhaps you can use them later for cooking. But once again, knives can be dangerous. Be very careful.
I will try my best. Onions have nails.
You're going to start cutting the onion.
Like how? Okay, can I cut off this part? Don't
Yeah.
make it. That's weird.
Make sure to cut them into tiny pieces.
Princess and the Frog.
So now you're going to get them into a little pile. And then you're going to hold your head so your eyes are directly over the onions.
No!
It's for science.
My eyes are already doing it. I'm already...
Put your head directly over them. Did you drop one?
Drop the pencil, Toby. She's looking at me with this in her mouth.
She wants to do school too.
I don't like this science experiment already.
Your eyes are red.
I know. I really hope it doesn't squirt juice.
It won't. Hold your head so your eyes are directly over the onions. What are you feeling?
I'm already starting to cry because it hurts.
Uh-huh. Are you crying?
Yes, it hurts.
So he said to continue cutting until you're crying.
I already was crying the first cut.
Okay. So he says then you can get rid of all of the onion pieces either by throwing them away or putting them in a container for later to use.
I'm not using these.
Wipe away all the tears and wait until you're no longer crying.
It hurts.
Get a tissue. You got an onion on your eyelid. Don't get onion in your eye.
Is it still there?
No. Okay, after you have thrown all the onion pieces away and washed your knife and your cutting board, and you're done crying, it's time to start the second part. Do you feel like you're done crying?
For now.
For now. Then you grab your second onion. So, for this step, you're going to put the cutting board or something similar that will fit into the sink and start the water running.
Albert.
For this, you are going to put, oh, I lost them. Put the cutting board or something similar in the sink and start the water running. Cut the other onion that is still out. This time, make sure that the onion stays under the running water while you are cutting. Cut this onion up as much as you did before. It needs to stay under the water.
I wish this was over that way.
It is the cold water, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Be careful. It could be more slippery in the sink. try to cut up, you're going to get them in a pile and hold your face similar to how you did before, with the water running. Does it feel the same?
No, not as bad as last time.
No, but last time it was not. Okay, so how is the second onion compared to the first? Did you cry?
No, but my eyes were really stingy and watery.
But not like the first.
No.
Not like the first, okay. Once the third onion has been in the freezer for at least 15 minutes, pull it out of the freezer and begin cutting it. Put the cutting board in the same place you put it when you cut the first onion, and cut the onion as much as you did the other two. And then in addition, you hold your head in the same position relative to the onion. Let's do it again. Go get the onion. What are you doing? Okay, let's just make a pile and then we can Cynthia. So, same thing as before. Hold your head in the same position relative to the
You
onion.
saw me crying. I was only cutting.
Okay, well, let's just stop right there then. So, we know that you're going to cry because you're already crying. So, note whether you cried or not.
Oh, yeah.
And after you've done the experiment, throw the onion away and clean up your area, and we'll come back and talk about it. But our one onion started to grow.
Hi, Joey.
So, did you cry with the first onion?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it as bad as with the second onion?
No.
No. And then the third onion, did you cry with that one?
A lot.
Yes. So it was in there for 15 minutes, but so with the first onion, you most likely did cry. The second onion, most likely you did not cry. And Lydia didn't experience as much crying as the first one. The third onion, people with very sensitive eyes might have cried, but most people will have not. So apparently we've got someone with sensitive eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Onions have a sulfur-based chemical that are contained in tiny sacs in the onion's tissues. When you cut the first onion, those sacs exploded, releasing chemicals as tiny droplets into the air. And when these reach your eyes, a chemical reaction occurred and your eyes are irritated. That caused your lacrimal glands to produce excess tears, making you cry. Your body interpreted the chemical reaching your eyes as a possible harm to your health, and as a result produced excess tears designed to wash the irritants out of your eye and kill any potential invaders.
Mm-hmm.
So your eyes thought they were being attacked by little onions?
Little onion, like cartoon onion things.
Yes.
I almost stabbed myself with a pencil.
So why don't you think you cried in the second part?
Because it was covered in water, and so that the water got the stuff, the onion particle things.
Yes. So, and then, well, in the third one, the low temperature destroyed one of the main chemicals. For the third onion, most people won't cry because the low temperature of the freezer. We all know that. The freezer destroyed one of the main chemicals that causes a chemical reaction that irritates your eyes. As a result, the chemical hit your eyes, but the chemical reaction could not occur in your eyes, therefore were not irritated. So one reason you cry is to flush the irritants out of your eyes.
Yeah.